After Justin hit me with that low blow right there, I'm done dealing with him. I ain't got no words for the guy no more, man.
Jay Cutler's top 6 Mr. Olympia predictions. Justin Rodriguez versus Charles Griffen. Was there a confrontation backstage? Plus updates from Chris, Bumstead, Derek Lunsford, and many more Mr. Olympia contenders. What's up, Desktopers? Xavier Wills here for Desktop Bodybuilding, and we are back with another bodybuilding news video. And let's kick this one off with Rubiel Mosquera, aka Neckzilla, making his move to the IFBB/NPC to obviously first qualify to become a pro and then hopefully start competing in pro contests in the not too distant future, because this guy is a complete freak. We're seeing more and more updates, and the more and more we see of this guy, it seems like the more and more freaky he's getting. Like the size of this dude's legs, he has that sort of real next level freak muscle. Obviously, not to mention the size of his neck, which is something we haven't seen since like Jeff King back in like the 90s or something. So he's got a lot of freaky muscle. He reminds me almost of a Hassan Mustafa, but maybe a little bit more blessed. He does have a slightly more narrow shoulder structure, which might hurt him a little bit in the pro ranks, but if he can add enough freaky muscle and come in good enough condition, because I think that is one thing is in his amateur career where he's come in good condition without being inside out. I think to be in that pro stage and to be winning pro shows, he'll have to come in a little bit harder than that. But he has all the potential in the world, and from what I understand, he's pretty young as well. So shout out to him. These were posted up on his sponsor Yava Labs' IG page, so shout out. Our next set of updates come courtesy of Martin Fitzwater, who's looking really, really damn good in his off-season, keeping the conditioning in check. And I think he's right on point, honestly. Like, I think Martin, the one thing on his physique he needed to improve was just that conditioning from the front, because while he wasn't out of condition from the front, he just didn't have the same detail he had from the back. The back shots are out of this world. Like his back lat spread, his back double bicep, especially the rear lat spread. That shot is on another level because his back just looks so dense, and we know he does that really hardcore style of training, so that's obviously really paid dividends in his back shots, and he's really good from the side as well. And if he can just get that front double bicep a little bit harder, get those biceps a little bit peakier, then I think he's going to be extremely dangerous in any show that he goes in. Outside of a Mr. Olympia, he's pretty much going to be a threat no matter what show he does. And he's prepping for that 2024 Arnold Classic, where we're going to see a really good lineup. I almost have no doubt in that now that the Arnold Classic offers more money, considering we've already heard some really good names getting ready for that show already, like James Hollingshead and another guy here, Sergio Oliva Jr., who has landed in Spain and is training now already with Dorian Yates, 6-time Mr. Olympia. And we've mentioned it. It's like something out of a movie. I think Flex Lewis said something like that under the post that Sergio Oliva put up here. And he said it's like watching a movie or something like that. And it really is, because, you know, former Mr. Olympia Sergio Oliva Sr., this is his son. He held Sergio Oliva Jr. up on the Mr. Olympia stage, and I think he even said something like, oh, this is going to be a future Mr. Olympia. And Sergio Oliva Jr. has competed at the Olympia already, and he's hoping to get back there. And I'm super excited because with Dorian Yates training him, Neil Hill doing his diet, and I believe he's working with him in his off-season as well, I think it's a recipe for success for Sergio Oliva Jr. And hopefully we get to see some really cool content coming out of this, because it's like he's got Dorian Yates yelling at him in the gym, almost like Leroy was for Dorian back in the day. And it's a really, really cool story. And I hope we get to see ultimately success at the end of the road here for Sergio Oliva Jr., because it would make the story that much better. Now on to the news story that you guys may have tuned into this one for, or maybe you've tuned in for Chris Bumstead updates. But there is a potential beef here between Justin Rodriguez, who finished third at that Legion Sports Fest, and Charles Griffen, who won the contest. Charles was just on the latest episode of RX Muscle's Heavy Muscle Radio, and we're going to react to what Charles had to say.
I heard there was a little controversy after prejudging. right after, I guess right before you get off stage, were you like fist pumping in the air? Because I'm sure you were psyched that you pulled it off, right?
Yeah, man. You know, everybody knows how Charles is on stage. Everybody knows how I'm on stage. I'm like very into it. I'm very like, that's my energy. That's how it always is.
Right.
And after the prejudging, I stayed in the middle the whole time.
Right.
I stayed in the middle the whole time, and they said that concludes prejudging. So then what I do was I just got happy and showed some aggression, like, and then Justin Rodriguez came behind me. It's not over. It's not over. He kept saying it's not over, and I'm trying to keep my mouth closed. And he said it's not over. And then all of a sudden, I look at him. I said it's over. And then what he does was he hit me with a low blow, man. And me and Justin was real cool. We were cool and everything. He hit me with a low blow. He gonna tell me to fix your chest. And I was like, wow.
So for those who don't know, Charles Griffen had a pec tear. So he had that, I believe, earlier in the year. He was only able to train legs. Literally, he trained legs 3 times a week. And then he came back to win this show. So it was a pretty incredible comeback for Charles Griffen. And he did mention that, and that's why he was so sort of pumped up while he's on stage at the end of prejudging, because he said he was kept in the middle the entire time. So for that reason, that's why Charles was sort of pumped up in the first place. But anyway, let's listen on.
Oh, really? He went right there, huh?
Yeah, he went right there. And I'm like, dang, you being a pro bodybuilder and you know about injuries, and for me to come back on the stage, you hit me with that low blow right there. So what I did was I told him to fix his whole body. You know what I mean? That's what I told him, to fix his whole body. And then I walked away, and I walked away, and then you know me, I was like, I don't like how that ended. I'm cool with Justin. So I try to go back and talk to Justin, shake his hand. No, I don't want to shake your hand. He getting all aggressive. Mac Charles had to get in front of us. And
so you guys can see it on the screen right here. So that's Justin Rodriguez on the right. I believe on the far left, you've got Charles Griffen there. You got Max Charles second on the left there, and then you got Mo Choopan. So it looks like Max Charles and Mo Choopan are sort of trying to break up the situation, because it looks like there, you can see it looks like almost like Justin's like yelling or something like that.
And he got all in his feelings because in the athletes meeting, he said he was going to win. About to be 9-10 years of bodybuilding. That's my first time ever having a problem with any athlete. So, you know what I mean? After Justin hit me with that low blow right there, I'm done dealing with him. I ain't got no words for the guy no more, man. Because that was like, I looked at Justin as a cool dude, but he took it there on me. I'm not even, you know, I have no words for that guy no more.
No.
So yeah, there's a certain level of beef there, and obviously these stories get views. But it's going to be very interesting. I wish Justin was in the Olympia. I wish there was one more show where he could have qualified, and he qualified for the Olympia, because then we could have seen these guys go head-to-head once again on the Olympia stage, which would have been exciting. And I think Justin would have still had a few more weeks to get even sharper and bring it in a little bit more, and maybe it was a closer battle on the Olympia stage. But probably next year, I would love to see next year both these guys stand on the same pro stage. It would make it way more exciting, because if we were going into a show and the top 2 names were Charles Griffen and Justin Rodriguez, even though it's like, yeah, there's some good competitors there, it just makes it so much more exciting. Like it's a big battle between bigger names if these 2 guys have a bit of a beef. And some people say, oh, I don't like this. We want everyone to get along. You're just trying to put drama out there to get views. But it does make it exciting, because if this happens in the UFC and 2 fighters have an issue, are you more excited to watch the next fight? And this all gets reported on in every other sport. So just reporting on what's been put out there. But obviously, if either of these guys want to come on the channel and sort of explain things and their point of view and all that sort of stuff, they're more than welcome. In our next story, Jay Cutler was on the most recent episode of the Menace podcast with Dennis James, Mil Sarchev, and Chris Cormier, and he gave his top 6 Mr. Olympia predictions. So let's delve into that and see who Jay Cutler has placing where the 2023 Mr. Olympia.
Chris, Jay, now you can kill mine and come on.
Hadi, Derek is, I think, I'm going to put those as the top 1 and 2.
Okay, which one is 1?
I think Derek has the best shot right now.
Okay, Derek?
I don't know, because I haven't seen Hadi, you know what I mean? That could change. But
okay, Hadi second?
Samson, Nick, Hunter.
Samson.
Brandon.
Nick. Hunter and Brandon.
I don't know how many that is.
That's 6.
No, Andrew? Yeah, somebody has to be out, right? Somebody has to.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing.
Yeah. I'm gonna sit with that for right now. I think I hate making predictions. I was angry when people made predictions when I was.
So Jay Cutler's top 6 for you guys there. Let's go over it again. So he has Derek Lunsford and Hadi Choopan. He believes it will be a battle between those two guys once again. And really, I don't think we're giving the top 2 the respect this year that really they deserve. Because for me, it was a pretty clear top 2 last year. It wasn't like it was by the amount that Ronnie Coleman and Jay Cutler won to at the Olympia all those years, or Kai Green and Phil Heath. But to me, it was still a clear top 2. It was still a battle between those two for the victory. So I believe these guys are probably both going to improve. I think Hadi still can improve. I think Derek definitely will improve. To say those two will be out of a top 2, in some way, I think is pretty harsh. So I totally agree with Jay there. Then he has Samson Dowder coming in 3rd, Nick Walker in 4th. He has Hunter Labrada in 5th. So that's the one where he's really pushing up there, which doesn't sound crazy, obviously, because Hunter's finished 4th before and Hunter's bringing his all-time best this year. But I think many people are leaving Hunter outside that top 5. So he really is big on Hunter Labrada there. And then he's putting Brandon Curry in 6th place and leaving out Andrew Jacked. He's probably the unlucky man because it's been a pretty clear sort of top 7, top 8 that everyone's been talking about. And out of that top 7 that everyone talks about, there's obviously, if you're doing a top 6, you're going to leave one guy out that's probably going to be unlucky. And for Jay Cutler, it was Andrew Jacked. But Andrew Jacked has been predicted by other people on other channels to actually win the 2023 Mr. Olympia. So it shows how exciting it is. But let's listen to a little bit more of what Jay had to say.
They didn't vote for me, but hard to count Hadi out. I think but I just feel like Derek had first place votes last year,
Right.
and I think Derek is going to be so much improved. I mean,
I think the same.
I think he's going to be absolutely like mind-boggling crazy at this Olympia.
Jay makes some great points, and let's get into some updates of Derek Lunsford because, like he said, Derek Lunsford got first place votes last year. Now, some people look at the footage and say, oh, you have to be much harder and things like that. All he needs to do is sway a couple more of those Olympia judges over to his side from Hadi's side, and then he wins the 2023 Mr. Olympia. And I think Derek has more room to improve. I think that Hadi, while I think he can improve, no doubt, because I thought he could have been more conditioned from a back, and if he can retain most of that size and get that a little bit more crisper, I think Hadi is considerably better. Now, Derek Lunsford, he's not going to be as conditioned in those front shots as Hadi. It's just not going to happen. But Derek doesn't need to be. And Derek is looking harder, as you guys can see him posing here. And when he squeezes that most muscular all the way in, he gets those chest striations. And I think that's more important for him. And it seems like more of those shoulder striations are coming out too. And Derek just has a freak factor. He has so much muscle. Look at him from the back. It's just... It's what we saw from some of those freaky bodybuilders back in the day that were winning the Mr. Olympia or were right up there. Your Jay Cutlers, your Ronnie Colemans and things like that. So I think that Derek Lunsford looks like a Mr. Olympia coming into this contest. I think he will be Mr. Olympia. And I've also got him pinned down for an interview after the Mr. Olympia as well. When I said, hey, when you win the Olympia, I said, make sure you still interview me. Don't forget me. And he was very gracious and he said he will lock it in after the Olympia. So shout out to Derek Lunsford because he's looking absolutely insane. Now on to another guy, but moving to a different division into the Classic Physique. Breon Ansley is coming back to the Classic Physique class. He obviously planned to go up and do that 212, but with the weights being changed, he reconsidered it. And I think it was a wise move as well. I don't think Breon had what it took to be 212 Mr. Olympia, in my opinion. But Breon, I think, can place high in the Classic Physique for sure. Can he come back and win it? I don't see that as being a likely scenario, but I'm not sure how many pounds Breon actually has available to him, or extra pounds he has available to him, but I believe it's several. And if he can be, another 4 pounds heavier within the Classic Physique class, I think he's going to look pretty crazy. And you can see here, he looks bigger than previous years for sure. Now, the legs, I don't think are any more improved or anything like that, but I think they're probably improved on last time he stood on stage, but from his very best, I don't know if they're improved, but that upper body looks a bit fuller than we've seen in previous years at 3 weeks out. So shout out to Breon Ansley. And we got an update from the man himself, CBUM, Chris Bumstead. at a little over 2 weeks out, 2.5 weeks out of the 2023 Classic Physique Olympia, and that side leg. Firstly, let's focus on that just from the side. To me, there is just so much detail there just in the calf, and it goes up into the hamstring and the glute. And it really reminds me of what he brought to the stage last year, and just seeing that it's almost overwhelming. I can imagine if you're there in person as well, you're just looking at it going, how can you beat this guy? Honestly, he's absolutely crazy and looking very, very good. The arm looks huge. He looks bigger than previous years. And after showing my update of Urs Kalaczynski yesterday or the day prior on that Bodybuilding News video, I was thinking Urs can really challenge, and no doubt he can. Obviously, if there's some issue with CBUM's physique, things happen. I mean, people do bad shots in their shoulder and it swells up. I mean, if guys do it in their bicep and we see issues there where guys get penalized and things like that, anything like that could happen. CBUM could have a torn muscle somewhere. He could have anything, number of things go wrong. He could have food poisoning. He could have health issues. There's so many things that could potentially go wrong for any of these competitors. And we see it every year across the Olympia, at least with 1 or 2 competitors here and there. So that could happen to the top guy. I mean, it's happened in the past with Mr. Olympias and Miss Olympias. So that could happen. Would that need to happen for Urs to come up and win it, or Ramon to come up and win it, or Rough Diesel to come and win it? I think something would have to happen to Chris Bumstead in terms of his prep or his physique, or something going wrong, because he is so big now. He is just incredibly dense, incredibly muscular, while he still has great aesthetics. Could his aesthetics go over time? Sure, they could start to fade a little bit, but he's still got such a small waist. He's got a great vacuum. I can't see it going anywhere anytime soon, unless there's some sort of serious injury to the legs or something like that, because I don't believe we've seen any leg updates or any recent leg updates. So maybe something could have gone wrong there, but we don't know about any of that happening. And I honestly think that Chris Bumstead is the most likely to go on and win his 5th Classic Physique Olympia title. But could it be his last? Because it sounds like he's only going to be in this for maybe a few more years at the very most. And also, what does 6 do for Chris Bumstead's career that 5 doesn't do? I mean, he did actually, I believe in an interview, go on to say, he said, I don't want to win 7 or 8 of these things. So it means essentially he'd be retiring after this Olympia or next, unless he obviously reconsiders, because he says really then he goes, it's 1 year at a time. So who knows if Chris has 1, 2, 3 or 4 more years left in him at the Olympia. I don't believe it will be the likes of 3 or 4 years. Could he want to tie Arnold on 7 Olympia titles? That'd be pretty cool, because obviously, Arnold Schwarzenegger is that sort of next guy up. I don't think he has any aspirations to tie Dorian or anything like that in terms of how many Olympia titles. I think it'd be more going towards, an Arnold. And then it's like, well, you could win 8. You could become, on level with those open guys that have won 8 Olympia titles. And obviously it's different. I don't want to say they're the same thing, but maybe he just goes, I'm going to win 8. I want to become the most winningest male at the Mr. Olympia. So maybe he goes for 9. But I don't see that on the cards for CBUM. I think that this potentially could be his last Olympia. Do I want it to be? No. I think he's great for the division. And the longer he stays in bodybuilding, the better for everyone. Because he's a great ambassador. He's got a great physique. He has obviously, incredible mainstream appeal as well, because he's obviously almost got, I think, 20 million followers now on Instagram and a huge following on YouTube and other platforms too. So the longer CBUM stays competing, the better for bodybuilding for sure. But anyway, guys, let me know your thoughts on everything discussed in this video below. Let me know what you think of Jay Cutler's top 6 Mr. Olympia predictions, how you think Sergio Oliva Jr. will do going out there training with Dorian Yates, what you think about the potential beef there between Justin Rodriguez and Charles Griffen, plus the updates from Derek Lunsford, Breon Ansley, and all those guys as well. Anyway, guys, that's it for this one. My name is Xavier Wills. This is Desktop Bodybuilding. Make sure you give the video a thumbs up, smash that like button, subscribe, and hit the notification bell button so you don't miss out on any of my 2023 Mr. Olympia coverage. I'm Xavier Wills. This is Desktop Bodybuilding, and we are out.